Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. A short while ago, I was made aware of a situation regarding the Chronoshift project thanks to a tweet posted by Upper Echelon Gaming. The Chronoshift project, for those who aren't familiar, is a fan-driven League of Legends project similar in vein to the World of Warcraft Nostralis or Filmist projects that were shut down under threat of legal action by Blizzard in 2016 and 2017 respectively. ChronoDeals produced a 10-year-old version of League of Legends where the team had been working on the project for over 4 years. Yesterday, PC Gamer released an article discussing Riot's actions in shutting Chronoshift down, including one of the developers, Lord Lethendren's accusations that a representative of Riot Games attempted to extort them into handing over the code and the Chronoshift.dev website. And in this situation, I will say up front that yes, Riot Games did have a legitimate legal right and reason for shutting the project down. Yes, the representative from Riot Games that spoke to Lord Lethendren did act like a complete and utter ass and was heavy-handedly threatening the Chronoshift team. And also, yes, Lord Lethendren's issued statement did appear to be misrepresentative in some areas. In short, no one's hands are completely clean in this particular situation, and we'll run through that information as well as I do have an idea that I'm surprised none of these modders have ever attempted before, as well as my reasoning behind why unfortunately Riot Games would never agree to such terms despite the obvious positive PR benefit. Now let's start with a statement made by Lord Lethendren that is visible currently at chronoshift.dev. Now in it, he states, "Today, 4/24, Riot Games' security department has contacted us and tried to extort us into handing over our code and website to them. You can read the full conversation here." And in that conversation, the representative named Zed does appear to be extremely heavy-handed in his dealing with Lord Lethendren. The conversation immediately goes downhill and seemingly intentionally so when Zed states, "So here I am to be the representative of that effort. We have a few things we'd like you to provide us and then we can all walk away with no hard feelings." And he continues, "I admire the effort to cleanse your channels," meaning the Discord, "but I'll be real with you. That's making me think you don't have a ton of interest in cooperating. At the end of the day, that's fine, but I'd urge you to give us some credit. We archived all your messages long before you nuked the channel. You can delete the private channels too if you'd like, mod chat, backend to-do, game issues archived, old videos, etc. But I'd prefer you didn't, since it really won't do you any good anyway. You've obviously put a ton of work into Chronoshift, but I assure you that the Chrono break is coming." And that statement really does strike me as a mob-style threat without making a threat strong-arm tactic. Lord Lethendren says he can dispense with the scare tactics, where in almost cartoon thuggishness style, Zed responds by saying, "If it were scare tactics Riot wanted, you wouldn't be speaking to me. I'm here as the not lawyer. If it's directness you prefer, here's what I'm after. Hand over all source code. Tell us all identifiable information you shared with another developer and what identifiable information he shared with you. Not necessarily required, but I'd be curious to know how you and another person broke down the workload." Further on, the Riot Games representative continued, "Until now I've said, give this or we will sue. That's the offer. Give me what I'm looking for and we won't sue. Refuse and we will. I'm not interested in dragging this out. If you feel you'd like to speak to legal representation, you're certainly capable of doing so. I'm on the security team. I find people and things. I don't practice law and have little to nothing to do with any legal proceedings Riot is involved in. We can come to an agreement to end this today, or we can both hand this off to counsel. To be honest, I don't care either way." He then finished the conversation by saying, "I wish I could say it has been a pleasure." Now, Lord Lethendren provided evidence via Pastebin as to the legitimacy of his claims that this was indeed a Riot Games employee. However, that isn't necessary for me to go through, as PC Gamer's Andy Chalk confirmed with a Riot representative that the Zed individual does work for Riot, and that representative also confirmed the legitimacy of the screen-capped chat, where the representative also added that Riot was, quote, "disappointed with the tenor of the conversation." The PC Gamer article states, "We'll be addressing this internally," they said. "We often attempt good faith reach-outs prior to issuing legal documentation. In this case, however, given the Chronoshift team's response, we have proceeded through more formal channels." And those formal channels included this letter written by the attorney Mark Meyer on behalf of Riot Games, demanding that Chronoshift be shut down and that they turn over any source code and modded clients, with the demand of delivery within 5 days of receiving the letter, a demand that PC Gamer reports the Chronoshift team complied with. Now, it's important to note here that, unfortunately, they're not wrong. This sort of thing does infringe on Riot's copyright, and it may well also infringe upon their trademark. which, while mods and other such things exist at the sufferance of the copyright owner, when it comes to trademark law, it is very much a case of protect it or risk losing it in the eyes of the law. When a company is made aware of something or someone infringing on their trademark, they do have a legal requirement to enforce its protection in order to maintain that trademark. And that is why we see so many projects of this kind get smashed hard once these companies learn of their existence. There are, of course, other reasons as well, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, for now, let's go back to Lord Lethendren's statement online. To our best knowledge and the assessment of the lawyer specialized in IT copyright we talked the project over with, we have not done anything illegal. We never distributed any copyrighted material. All old game files can still be directly downloaded from Riot's CDN. Chronoshift has not interacted with a live game or live game accounts in any way, shape, or form. Chronoshift was never going to go past a patch in early Season 2 and was not designed to compete with a live game. Which I do have to say, whomever this IT copyright lawyer is, fire him, because he obviously does not understand how copyright works. At worst, this is a direct reproduction of Riot's intellectual property, which does violate their copyright, and at best, it could be considered a derivative work, which still violates their copyright. And as for his statement that they never distributed any copyrighted material, people were able to actively play Chronoshift, which is distributing League of Legends material. Now he continues, instead of opening a conversation about the future and interest in this kind of project, they attempted what could be seen as an attempt to take advantage of our work for free and start taking legal action against us. Now, this is blatant supposition here and heavily implies that Riot Games is only doing this to be able to obtain the Chronoshift source code so Riot would be able to rather easily publish a vanilla League of Legends option themselves, taking all of the legwork out of it and at the same time using the threat of legal action as a sort of Damocles hovering over the Chronoshift team's head. And there is no evidence of this. Possible? Sure, it is possible, but is it likely? Not really, no. It is also worth noting that on Reddit last year, Riot Games' Gene responded to the announcement of the Chronoshift project saying, hijacking to say please don't do this. We have very simple and easy to read policies around developing products around Riot Games. Please read the legal jibber jabber, yes that's what it's called, and the policies on developer.riotgames.com. So Riot Games did attempt to prevent things a full year ago. How Zed handled that conversation was clearly wrong, however, and far more adversarial than it needed to be. And we have seen this sort of thing happen time and time again with Star Wars, with World of Warcraft, and now with League of Legends. Any hint that these companies come across of such actions and they will take steps to shut them down. Both because, while Lord Lethendren claims they would in no way compete with League of Legends, it actually would, because these companies want you playing in their ecosystems, not someone else's. The reason being is plain and simple. Microtransactions. League of Legends, just the same with basically any other online multiplayer game, is laden with microtransactions, premium currencies, and loot boxes. And if you're playing on a fan-made server, you won't be within their controlled environment where they can advertise to you and attempt to direct you into making purchases. Make no mistake, it is very much about protecting their wallets as it is about protecting their copyright and trademark. Now, a while back, during the last situation with a fan-made vanilla World of Warcraft shutdown, I posited the idea that these fan teams and modders reach out to the companies that own these games. Reason being to seek out a copyright and trademark licensing agreement to be able to legally proceed with their fan-made versions of the game. But I also knew that with currently active online games such as World of Warcraft or League of Legends, the likelihood of that succeeding would be exceptionally slim simply due to my aforementioned reasoning surrounding microtransactions and loot boxes. However, for Star Wars projects that were canceled, like Galaxy in Turmoil that was working off of the canceled Star Wars Battlefront 3, or Aperon, which was a fan-made remake of Knights of the Old Republic, both of which were stomped out of existence due to the now no longer existing exclusivity deal with Electronic Arts, they might see a possibility of obtaining a license. Or for older games that are no longer played, such licensing agreements might allow these fan developers to breathe life back into them in a manner that conforms to the law and allows them to proceed, even potentially being able to earn income in order to offset their hosting expenditures. In addition, I would strongly urge these companies to entertain the possibilities of these licensing agreements. It would allow fan-made projects to operate under the prescriptions or guidelines the companies would wish, along with netting them some goodwill from grateful fans of legacy video games. Now, I would even urge Riot to consider issuing such a license to the Chronoshift team, but with those microtransactions, I really don't believe they would even be willing to consider it. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.